Yeah? Did you have enough time for lunch? It was good? Okay, awesome. That's always something that we're trying to tune, make sure we have enough trucks to people, which is a very important metric in ops. Please take your seats. We will be starting Ignites soon. Who here, actually, are you going to introduce the concept of Ignites, or shall I? Who here knows what Ignites are? Show of hands. Okay, so there's a few people who do not. Ignites are a traditional form of torture, where we take willing yet naive volunteers and we have them give short talks with auto-advancing slides that they have no control over. And so it is the ultimate test of dedication and performance, and sometimes a bit of a surprise. And today, our host for Ignites is Tiffany. Can you give it up for Tiffany?
Thank you, Alice. Yes, so Ignites, the format is a 5-minute talk. There are exactly 20 slides, and each one advances every 15 seconds, with or without you. So while I just want to say Ignites are just as labor-intensive to produce as a full-length talk. The good side is it's just over 5 times faster. So we're always looking for more people to submit Ignite talks. So if you're like, maybe I should try giving this talk thing a go, please submit Ignite talks to this DevOps Days or any other DevOps Days, really. I do want to put out one content warning. If you don't like depictions of gore, there is some makeup in the second talk on slide 8. So if you need to prepare yourself, do so. If cats will make it better, there are going to be plenty of cats in the last talk. So, our Ignite speakers today are Ryan Whitehurst, Marika Krumhansel, Heidi Waterhouse, and Aaron Aldrich. Let's give them all a ginormous round of applause right now before we get started. And here we go.
All right. I'm Ryan. There we go. I was supposed to give a talk today on neurodiversity in tech and how we can support the amazing variety of brains that make up our species. Something happened. I fell into a depression. It's not uncommon when you're autistic, ADHD, and not coping well. It had been coming for a long time, but a few weeks ago, it hit a critical point. Suddenly, everything seemed pointless, including my talk. This past weekend, I sat at my computer and did everything except work on my talk. I'd already prepared an outline, but I just couldn't actually write the talk. Then Sunday, around 8 p.m., I gave up on it and wrote this talk instead. And in doing so, I realized the most important points I wanted to make. We can't be ashamed to talk about our mental health, even when we're not doing well. We can't be ashamed to work with our brains instead of against them, even when they won't do what we think they should. We can't be ashamed to ask for what we need, even when others don't understand. A few weeks ago, I was panicking. I could tell I was spiraling out of control, and I didn't know what to do. I was afraid that I was quickly heading towards a point where I wouldn't be able to do my job anymore, and I was terrified. So I did one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I told my boss everything. I told him I was scared, that I didn't know if I could keep doing my job. I told him everything that I was and still am trying to deal with. And I told him I didn't know what to do. Now, if the full implications of what I just said didn't occur to you, let me say it another way. I told my boss that I didn't think I could continue to do my job. I fully realized it didn't matter how good I am at my job, and I'm good at my job. Doing this could mean losing my job, my income, even my insurance, but I didn't see any other option. So I took a chance, and it worked. My boss helped me. We transferred me to another team that was a bit less stressful for me. We devised strategies to help me deal with accountability. We came up with ways to vary my work so that I could work with my brain rather than force it to do something that it couldn't. And so far, it seems to be working. This is what it means to embrace neurodiversity, accepting that each one of us is unique, and what works for one person won't necessarily work for someone else. And that's okay. It's this very diversity of thinking that allows us to build, innovate, invent together so much more than any individual can do alone. There's a study where they gave groups of kids problems to solve. Some of the groups had an ADHD student in them and others didn't. 14 out of the 16 groups with an ADHD student solved the problems. None of the groups without did. Making the effort to support the neurodivergent among us benefits everyone. And all we need to do is listen to each other without judgment. Take the time to learn what we each need. Try different ways of working and iterate on them. The same thing we do when we solve a problem with software. With a little compassion, understanding, and patience, we can all achieve so much more than we otherwise would. To me, that's beautiful. Thank you for hearing my story.
So these slides are on auto advance, so I gotta wait. How y'all doing? I'm Marika. This is Tiffany. And I have a hobby outside of work that I'd love to share with you that actually has a lot of benefits and implications for DevOps. So here's the scenario. I am the new manager of development enablement, and I have taken ownership of continuous integration and continuous delivery tools that have sustained a 9.0 Cascadia subduction zone earthquake, aka communal ownership as the engineering org scales. Critical infrastructure is heavily impacted. Leaky commit deploy pipelines are everywhere. Docker in Docker is crumbling like unreinforced masonry. All users experience a profound lack of stability. Other managers might panic. Luckily, I am an active neighborhood emergency team member and have relevant training for this situation. When Portland experiences a major disaster, such as a Cascadia subduction zone earthquake, it could be up to 2 weeks before professional first responders, such as firefighters or medical personnel, can help in neighborhoods. All over the world, studies have shown that after a major disaster, up to 96% of people who require rescue are rescued by their neighbors and not by professional first responders. The NET program trains volunteers in every Portland neighborhood how to save lives safely and effectively. So I apply my NET training to this CI/CD situation. First, I check myself for injuries. All good. I make sure that my family is safe. All good. So I dress for the weather, put on my personal protective equipment, and head out. The first lesson I learned in NET is to never go in alone. Trying to put out all the fires in your CI/CD system makes you part of the problem, not the solution. So hire a team or enlist volunteers. Use pair programming when making changes or fixing issues in your system, but do not try to be a hero. Heroes end up overestimating their abilities, making mistakes, and causing a bad situation to become worse. Time and effort then needs to be spent rescuing the heroes from themselves. diverting critical resources away from other problems. Don't be a hero. When prioritizing disaster response efforts, nets focus on doing the greatest good for the greatest number in the shortest amount of time. When responding to a CI/CD situation, always prioritize the work based on the business level objectives. All of your work must be directly traceable to one or more company level strategic objectives. There may be many important improvements that must be made, but you must be decisive and accept the fact that you cannot do everything. Focus. Do the thing that is going to be most valuable. Remember that ultimately your success as a leader will come down to your ability to deliver value. As a net, I have met a lot of folks who know that it's likely that a Cascadia subduction zone earthquake will happen in their lifetime, but their sense of urgency is low, and so they haven't taken any steps to prepare. As a manager of development enablement, I also sometimes struggle with implementing change because complacency is high. Another fire. Generating a strong sense of urgency is critical to any change effort in both your neighborhood and in your workplace. One way to do this is to remind people of the consequences of inaction. Paint heart-wrenching stories of the potential future if nothing is done. People cannot be allowed to feel that the status quo is acceptable. And then give people an alternative vision of the future and communicate that vision over and over and over again. Tell them at the all-hands meetings, tell them at the staff meetings, in one-on-ones, mention it in your emails or Slack messages. People need to hear something 17 times before they start to believe it. I've come to realize that the reason my net training is so relevant to this CI/CD situation is because net is like DevOps for cities. Think about it. Neighborhoods are like devs. Professional first responders are like ops. Ops can't be everywhere at once. Devs need to be equipped to respond to their own issues. How do you scale ops? You make ops a normal part of development. How do you scale citywide emergency response? You train each neighborhood how to respond to disasters. And this leads to a state of resilience because we can't stop disasters from happening, but when they do, we can bounce back faster and stronger than before. So, don't be a hero. Prioritize based on the business level objectives and combat complacency. And if you do these things, you too will be able to safely and effectively rescue your continuous integration and continuous delivery tools from disaster.
Hi, I'm Heidi. You already met me. I like the stage. It doesn't scare me at all. All right, so this is my talk about stickers because I've been a DevRel for like a whole year now, and I have a lot of opinions about stickers, and you get to hear them all. No, you get to hear 5 minutes worth of them because I have way more than 5 minutes worth of opinions about stickers, as anybody who's been at a sticker table with me knows. So why do we care about stickers? Are we actually 8 years old? Like, what on earth am I talking about? Did I really just talk my company into spending $3,000 on stickers? I did. I really did. So stickers are delightful. The reason we like them is because they bring joy to our lives and they make us happy. And there are not enough things in technology that really make us just sort of go, ooh, that's adorable. They also let us represent ourselves with in-group markers and identity. For instance, Tiffany's computer, which we're looking at here, tells me a lot about her and what she cares about. Everybody wants to be able to do that. Not everybody. Lots of people want to be able to do that. There are some stickers that I cannot keep around because they are so rare and important to people to be able to represent themselves. Anything for queer people, underrepresented folks, and in-jokes. I loved the sprinkle on the DevOps stickers, Chef. Please bring them back. They were hilarious. We know why they were funny. But I got LaunchDarkly to do trans, bi, and gay pride stickers, and that made me super happy. And you can order neurodiversity stickers, and that made me super happy. So why does it matter what we put on? Well, sometimes we're representing our personal stack, or our corporate stack, or our personal, and that matters to us. And it turns out that it also matters to the companies we see because there's a lot of really important airspace on the back of a speaker laptop. There's a lot of important airspace to think about how you see something. So when I travel, I take the notorious sticker bag, and it changes every time. And I spread it out on the table. I'll do it tonight at the party. And I say, come take my stickers and bring me some if you want. You don't have to. Let's exchange ideas. So what do I think about stickers and how they should be designed? Because, man, there's some bad patterns out there, and I have feelings. So many feelings. So many more than 5 minutes of feelings. But first, there's a spec for that. What size should your stickers be? Sticker.how has a spec for the hexagon size so that they're interoperable. That's super important. They should be small. Here's the sticker.how thing. They also have a square specification. If you look at these, you will notice that they are not big stickers because I do not want to dedicate a huge portion of my laptop to your self-aggrandizement unless it's really, really cute. Then we can talk. Because I love you, Twilio. That's too big. That's like 1/6 of a laptop. That's not happening. Maybe if I were going to put it on a car, that would be an appropriate size. So not too big. And preferably, maybe you should think about tiling. This is the great thing about the hexagon stickers because you can tile them together. You can tessellate them. It's madness. It's just great. Circles are the worst shape because then you have an edges problem. So interoperability, especially with the hex shape, is really cool because it means that you're supporting open source by being able to be next to open source. Like, just aspire to the open source sticker standard, and we're going to do great. Circles, inefficient. Do I cover up your circle with something? Does your circle cover something up of mine? Is that dead space around the edges? But I could have put some stickers there. If you want to use your stickers to promote your company, it's really, 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 really important for you to put your name on them. Because you may think that your logo is recognizable, but it's not. Who knows who this is? InfluxDB. I only know that because I spent a year asking them to put their name on the stupid stickers. I'm like, I can never remember. People ask me about your cute stickers, and I don't know. InfluxDB, right there. So, if this talk was useful and you want stickers, come find me this evening, or take a picture and get a free t-shirt. You may have heard that before. Thank you all.
Now I have to rap for 30 seconds. You saw me earlier, too. I'm Aaron. Oh, that was really effective. I didn't expect that. I have nothing else. I didn't prepare for the blank space. I also burned a slide for introduction, so it's going to be weird when I get there, too. It's all good. Okay, hey, I'm Aaron. I still work at the same company from this morning. But today I want to talk about MTBF and MTTR, specifically as it applies to people and our relationships. Before we get too far into it, I only have 5 minutes, so there are some definitions and assumptions we have to make. This is literally what those letters mean. I have also said fallout and relationship to apply it to people. And as we've discussed a couple times, we want to optimize for repair and resiliency over avoiding failure. Rewatch Heidi's talk if you don't believe me. Complex systems, so they're always changing. They are inherently unknowable. Sometimes just observing them can cause changes. So the same input doesn't always equal the same output. And if we are at that point, we also have to say there's no single root cause to failure in complex systems, and if humans are complex systems, in our relationships. Root cause is often a search for closure, not actual learning. Like the root cause to every plane crash is gravity, so we should look for other problems. So when we optimize to avoid failure, we create rigid systems. We kind of kludge around fixes, and we're only really solving what we expect. Like when the microphone goes, oh, it's not, I'll just hold both. So if we do that, eventually we can get catastrophic failure if our technical debt builds up too high. And this debt isn't just a technical problem. Here we go. going to stand here and keep doing it. It applies to our relationships as well. We can have relational debt. Every time we interact, sometimes we both leave enriched, but sometimes there's a failure to communicate, and there's a debt that gets created in this space. So that debt has to be paid. Like, we don't want debt to go into collections. It's a problem. But it's all right. Experience with failure is okay. It's a good thing to find out where the edges of our systems are, and like, how far can we go before it breaks? When's a good time to pull back and maybe provide comfort for the system? Or where can we? Where can we keep pushing and maybe find out how we can grow as people and grow in our relationships? Maybe it's okay to be uncomfortable for a little while, like during an Ignite talk. We all grow as people. So condition 0 for how do we achieve this? You must be in a blameless culture. If you're in an environment where things go wrong and we want to find out what caused it or who caused it, you're going to have a bad time. So ideally, we want to be in a space where we want to learn from those failures, not just point out who to blame. So I work in a team that is spanned from Sydney to the West Coast. Time zones and cultures are very different. We all have an accent. So for instance, when I say, I don't know if that's the best bang for our buck, my Austrian colleagues have no idea what I'm talking about. So it's good to assume good intent. We're all on the same team and working to achieve similar goals. If something went wrong that rubbed us the wrong way, probably it was a communication problem, not malintent. Sometimes asynchronous text communication through Slack is bad. So we have a /zoom command that can instantly stand up face-to-face conversation. We can see what they look like and what our voices are saying, and not read in all our own emotions into the conversation. So that's really important as well. So lessons from networking. Two-way communication is better than shouting into the void. I'm sorry if that ruins the entire Twitter business model, but it's just better. So try, for instance, an example from earlier. Instead of saying, what you're saying is pull are welcome, but what I'm hearing is you don't want to talk to me anymore or don't value my input. So it avoids that talk past each other, acknowledging, no, you're not verbatim saying this thing, but that's what I'm experiencing. Can sometimes lower the volume of conversations. We do still have incidents with people, relationships. So it's good to have a run book or how to deal with that. Nonviolent communication is a troubleshooting process for relationships and conflicts. This has a few different parts. One is observations. This is what actually occurred. Hey, I asked you for help. You said you would give it in an hour. It's now the next day and I haven't heard anything from you. Feelings are not heady, they're visceral, so I'm feeling scared that I'm not going to complete the project on time, and I'm angry because I asked you for something, I didn't get it. Needs are usually base human needs. What do I actually need out of this? I need the ability to know that when I ask for something, it's going to occur, especially when you've committed to it, and I need sort of that peace that my project is going to work out. And then a request is, again, something achievable. I don't just need you to drop everything every time. That's not really a thing. But can I ask that even if you're not going to make the time frame, you can just update me. Let me know what's going on so I have some stability there. And these can't be demands because that has other power dynamic problems. So this isn't enough to doing this yourself back in your workplace. Here are some more resources. And this is why I proposed an open space about it earlier. So let's talk in an open space. Thanks.
Can we get one more big round of applause for all of our Ignite speakers today? I don't have anything else planned to say.
Thank you, Tiffany. And thank you, Aaron, for test writing our new game day mic. The system's going well. Look out for the Kickstarter. So it is time for open spaces. Joe has put together all of your suggestions into a lovely schedule that he is going to share. And we have signs printed out, and we'll be swapping them on the rooms to designate which rooms have which topics in them at which times, so that, as Joe said before, you can vote with your feet and go back and forth. And yes, I'm very excited to see what schedule we have cooking up.
Okay, so actually we're going to have more spaces because oops, let's see here. Sorry, I'm going to, give me 1 second. There we go. So we have the main room here. We're going to have a left center area and then over there, the right, and next door, there is, I'm just explaining how the rooms are going to work. There's the front, which is in, if you're looking at it that way, and then the back of the room. And then there's the 3 rooms along the wall there where people were eating before. That's being broken down into 3 rooms. And B110 is the coffee, where you got coffee and waffles this morning in that room. And since we had more topics outside across from registration is the Portland Roasting Company. They had the tables over there. These seemed like some smaller, more a smaller audience discussions, but we still wanted to have those, have space for that to talk, so we can congregate in those areas. We had we're getting some more easels. Some of the easels overnight from the Hack Day disappeared overnight, so we didn't plan for resiliency. Shame on us for that. But so. So then we'll have these up. The schedules have been tweeted out, and then we'll have these into the rotating deck and have the talks out there. So we have life after operations, containerizing state around databases, and bios are hard. And then the pay talk discussion, which should be a good one. I'm not going to read through this thing. However, I was thinking about life after operations might be a really good country song. I don't know. But so here's the schedule. It's also been tweeted out, and they'll have the boards on there. What I would recommend is somebody who does sort of leading the discussion. If they're taking notes, when you're done, take a picture, tweet it out. I know that people have said a lot about Twitter, and it'd be a good thing to get on, and on Twitter, if you're not, to watch things that are going on. And it's a good way to learn what other things are going on in the other open spaces that you weren't on, if people do tweet those out. So thank you. Break, let's go, let's have fun. Next door.
Awesome, thank you. I'll see you back here at 4:20 for the last talk of the day. And we need to clear out of this room so they're breaking it up. Are they not? No. They're not physically breaking it up. Okay, I'll see you back here at 4:20, and there will be a break with food in the afternoon.